Hello YouTube and welcome back. Today I was planning to do a positive video, because EA released this Prime event or the Face-Off event, and some of the cards are actually really cool. I also like the B&D structure in this event, but unfortunately we will not talk about this event today, because while I was thinking the fantasy event is over, and everyone who basically fully cleared their collections, spent all their coins just to make maybe that third fantasy card, are absolutely screwed now. Because apparently yesterday EA did not remove the fantasy cards from the packs and actually increased the rate of you being able to pull them. And we went from having around 30 fantasy cards in the auction house in average to 99. 5 minutes ago it was 110. So as you can see, everyone was pulling fantasy cards left and right. And not only did it happen during the hours a lot of people were at work, or let's say if you are from Europe, you was not even able to participate in this, I don't know, glitch. Was it done on purpose or whatever you name it? Now, everyone who was able to participate will for sure not struggle with the cap space. Because if you use 3 fantasy forwards and 2 fantasy defensemen, you can basically boost your salary cap by 25 millions. And I'm assuming a lot of people in the community are not happy. That's why we'll go on Reddit and see what the community think about another fiasco around the fantasy event and just have some fun, because at this point, that's all we have left. And let's start with the first question. Let's hear your thoughts. Was the fantasy freebie event yesterday on purpose, or basically it was EA's incompetence? I don't know. What do I want to vote? I actually don't think it was the incompetence. I actually think it was on purpose, but I have no evidence to actually prove that it was, so I will just see the results. And majority of the community do think that it was classic EA incompetence. And this post absolutely made me laugh this morning. European me waking up excited to check out new hot content. And then basically we saw what happened. Everyone on Reddit is disappointed, angry, and actually there is a reason for it, because no way everyone was trying to grind so hard to get those few fantasy cards, because this year it actually felt like having more than 2 fantasy cards, as far as you're not, let's say, spending a lot of money, was some sort of flex. Now you will see plenty of teams with fantasy cards in their teams, while you, if you was not able to participate, let's say you are from Europe or even from North America but you was at work, yes, not fun. And the only comment basically says, my exact reaction to this morning when I woke up. I think you are not alone on this. How can anyone have any motivation to play hot after what just happened today? It's a really fair question. Like I said multiple times, everyone was trying so hard to get those fantasy players, and now people who were just lucky and in the game while this happened will have plenty without really any work. In all fairness, even if you are not spending any money and this is happening, there was probably no better time to actually spend real money if you can pull up to 3 fantasy cards in one pack, which even didn't cost you a lot. For everyone unaware, they forget to remove the fantasy cards from packs after the event ended today at 5 p.m. Eastern. And basically they also reduced the card pull rate, and everyone was now pulling a lot of 75s to 84s. This led to people pulling up to 4 tradable fantasy cards per pack. This is just madness. For those of you lucky enough to partake, good for you. You capitalize on one of their many mistakes, and I cannot blame you for that. That's also a fair comment. And obviously the person is also highlighting the issue with the cap space, which is absolutely a huge issue, because everyone is very close to the cap space already, and now some people will basically have advantage just because they were in the game. And again, I don't blame the people who are playing the game, and a lot of people were unlucky, including myself, because I'm in a different time zone and I never really can participate in any of these sort of things when EA mess up or do it on purpose. I don't know. Is there even anything they can do now to fix this? They cannot remove the cards from everyone's collections because people spend real money or coins. They also are 100% not giving out any freebies because we are talking about EA. But when I was thinking then the cost of the sets to make the fantasy players was ridiculous, this absolutely threw that out of the window, because this is just another level of, I don't know, diabolical situation in an NHL video game. I don't see how they can make this fair across the board. Personally, I don't see it as well, because the only way they can fix this is to give everyone else a fantasy card, but I can guarantee you then most likely we probably will not get anything, because once again, for people who was able to participate in whatever happened last night, today are just sad individuals, including myself. I also agree that a lot of people probably will be not motivated to play the game, because why to keep grinding? Maybe just be lucky, be online when the content drops and just hope for another glitch. Remember, there was a glitch where you was able to get 7 million coins. I think it was in NHL 25, and that also was fixed quite quickly. Now we have the fantasy cards after the fantasy event in the packs, and everyone who was opening the packs probably end up with another 7 million or even more if they are selling those cards. But in general, I want to hear your opinions about everything what happened yesterday, and is there anything EA can actually do to make us feel a little bit better? Nice job, EA. Yup, they did it again. They somehow found a way to ruin the game even more with that fantasy event. Everyone will now have plus 25 million cap space since everybody pulled 3 fantasy items in a pack, except those who were at work, of course. Ridiculous reaction time by EA to fix the glitch as well. All that grind to get the B&D items that weren't good for the most part of the player base. Obviously the person pulled Lundell and Barzal, so he's happy, but you saw how many people didn't pull any of these cards and basically ended up with some of the cards which probably will not reach the 99 overall. In a month, be ready to face teams with like a full starting lineup of a fantasy cards. This is so ridiculous, man. Sorry for the rant. Like seriously, you are absolutely right, because this is just mind-blowing in my opinion. This is really bad. One of the best events in NHL video game just straight away became one of the worst. Starting with the cost, yes, they gave us another 16 collectibles so we can make 2 B&D cards, and to be honest, I was happy with that because last year they gave us enough collectibles to make 2 fantasy cards. This year they did it the same. Yes, we was not really able to make more than 2 or maximum 3 fantasy cards if you have no money spent. It just felt like, accomplishment if you was able to do it. Now it feels like waste of my time. Then I even grinded the objectives. If I would knew something like this would happen, I probably would not use any of my fodder. I would just sell everything and then just rip the packs or even go and buy the fantasy cards on the auction house because some of them are going for less than 1 million. Apparently there was a period where yesterday you was able to buy some of the fantasy cards for 500,000 coins. And I'm talking about some decent fantasy cards with a good chance of actually getting to the 99. So yeah, I'm frustrated, same as you are. I honestly don't know how anyone can support this game anymore. Obviously we still love hockey, we still will play hockey. Are we demotivated to play the game? Yes, because the rewards are not good enough. But let's be very real, majority of us will still continue playing the game because we love hockey. And now with regular season starting, and for everyone who only have 2 B&D fantasy cards, we still will follow the teams, we still will hope that they will score, and yes, we will still be sad and everyone else have, let's say, 5 more fantasy cards than you have. Don't leave out all the poor bastards like myself who were stuck at work. Most of us were looking forward to the playing since the regular season was starting. Me personally, I was gonna play a few and watch some hockey, but the motivation went out of the window as soon as I got home and checked the hot Reddit. That basically says it all. Obviously, everyone in Europe missed it as far as you're not unemployed or you're not working some weird shifts where you are actually playing the game after 10 p.m. because I'm in UK and the content drops at 10 p.m. Considering I have to wake up at like 5 a.m. the following morning to go to work, I was not able to be awake and in the game. And even if it was Friday, I don't know. Would I be able to participate in this? Probably yes, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just weird and I'm just speechless. Basically, everyone is saying the same thing I said multiple times. I'm with you, it's ridiculous. Grinding for the shitty B&Ds that's super rare and costs a ton. Then hundreds being released into the circulation because some, I will not say, fall asleep at his keyboard. Massive kick in the nuts. Some people are also saying that they don't really know if it was like that easy to pull them because they opened some of the packs and didn't really pull anything. I think there were some specific packs, not every single pack, but in general, whatever happened, it's not nice. Whales get all the cards while free to play are stuck doing moments for 15 minutes for a 79. This is my last year. We talked about then rewards are not good enough, at least not at this stage in the game, and things like this definitely don't help. So I agree with you. Personally, I stopped playing moments. I don't really care what sort of reward you are giving me. I will do one moment and then I will just repeat it over and over and over again until I get my XP. Once I'm done with my XP objectives, I'm not even bothered to play moments. I will go and do my, objectives in Cup Chase. Not that the Cup Chase rewards are much better because I also heard those were nerfed. But in general, every day when you think you've seen it all, there is something new. And I was one of the people who was thinking that this year has so much potential with all the changes. And I still think that there is enough time left in the game cycle to change some of the things and make the game fun. Firstly, obviously, leaks and stuff like this needs to stop. There is no any interest when you already know which players are getting the MSPs, when stuff like this happen when half of the community can participate and half of the community cannot, and just in general. I don't know what to say. This is just so freaking bad. Another thing is, I know a lot of people were saving coins and actually bought tradable fantasy cards. I lost about 700k on my tradable fantasy card. I saved up all year. Not like you're playing all year, but I understand what you mean. And then basically, once they started to put more cards into circulation, the value for the fantasy cards went down. So let's say you paid 2.5 million coins for that fantasy card. Now it's probably going for around, 1.5 million. So you definitely lost quite a lot of coins. Obviously, all year it's only 3 weeks. But yeah, I think the person was probably saving the coins from day one because instead of making fantasy player, he wanted to buy a tradable. Okay, some people are saying we are overreacting. It was like 15% of a chance for $25. Maybe people are overreacting, including myself. I just think that the noise around the fantasy event in general were not nice. So I was absolutely happy that the event is over. We can just park it and move on to the rest of the events we will see this year and see, hopefully something will improve. And once you was thinking it's over, nope, it's not. Here you go, more fantasy cards. Apparently there was around 200 on market alone when all this happened. So yes, I'm assuming a lot of people who have coins just went and bought all the fantasy cards and now we're happy. I probably will try to buy one as well. I don't know. That will probably be the only way how I can participate and get one more fantasy player. Another thing I want to touch on is that when we have something not working in the game, sometimes it takes quite a good amount of time to be fixed. And I understand, the gameplay patches take time and it needs to go through multiple layers of approvals and stuff like that. When something like this happens, it's being fixed in few hours. So I don't know. Why just don't let it continue, If it's there, it's there. Leave it on for 24 hours so at least everyone can take advantage. Is it legal? The entire event, people have been buying greater chance fantasy packs, implying the odds of buying these packs have greater chance of you pulling a fantasy card than other packs. You cannot tell me the pull rate of fantasy cards in these packs were greater than the packs released today. That was completely unrelated to the event. I'm not a lawyer, but this appears to be illegal. Thoughts? Probably once you accepted the terms and conditions when you open the game, you cannot really do anything about it. And yeah, I don't think any lawyers will help you. But once again, I understand the people's frustrations. Basically, every single post on Reddit is about how angry the community is. And you will only see people being angry because they were not able to participate in all this. So if they were not able to take advantage of it, of course they will be angry. You will not see a single post saying, oh my god, I opened all these packs and now I ended up with 30 fantasy cards, because those people are happy and they're probably done for the year because firstly, they have a lot of fantasy cards they can sell, their team will be stacked and they can just literally put the game to bed and then come back, let's say in a month, and they will still have competitive team. How do you think that people that are at work right now feels? I guess they feel the same as Europeans. Sad and a little bit angry. I don't know why everyone is so mad. What is there to even play for anymore? They broke ranked, that sucks now. The only thing is champs and the rewards sucks. Not much to play for this year. Still people play the game, even if the rewards suck. I like the team building aspect, I like using different cards, I don't know. Even if it's not rewarding and yes it sucks, I still will play my 20 champs games when I can, because otherwise where is the point of building the team if you're not really using those players? Also, a lot of people don't play online and a lot of people only play, let's say, Cup Chase on Superstar and they enjoy it and there is nothing wrong with that. But yes, again, I understand pretty much everyone's side and it definitely is not motivating you to continue grinding for lower overall cards while you will not be able to keep up with other people who was able to get multiple fantasy cards. I mean, everyone knew this was happening. Excuse me? How did you know this was happening? EA screwed up. Ha ha ha. I don't know. Is it funny? For me personally, it's not. I was really angry this morning when I logged into the Reddit before work just to read what is new. And I was like, for real? Like, I seriously didn't even play my champs games this weekend because all I did was trading in my lower overall cards into the sets and stuff like that so I can make one more fantasy player, spend a lot of my coins, stayed up until 3 a.m. just to work the auction house, and it all ended up basically pointless. Yes, I did get the player I want, and yes, I hope then he will score enough goals to go up, but at the same time, I put so much time into the game over the weekend, and now I feel that it was like pointless, if I could just go and buy the players from the auction house using the same coins. So basically, I will not really read this one, but I do agree that if, let's say, they now allow some people to have huge advantage in cap space, they have to release something to compensate that. I don't know. Remove the cap space in general then until the season 2 if that's the case. Or remove the fantasy boost for the cap space and just make the community even more mad. And it really does suck that a lot of people who were stuck at work, school, or I don't know, just going on with their life now feel that they are screwed. And the last thing I want to touch on, dear EA, can you change the time of content? During the pre-release, you had earlier content release times. Could you start releasing content at 1 p.m. Eastern instead of 5? The upside would be the Europeans would be able to enjoy content release the same day they get released and not 8 hours later when we wake up. And the upside for you is that your employees don't need to work overtime when you fuck things up, when the content is being released, because their workday will still have few hours left. This actually made me laugh. This was the only post I actually left a comment on, and basically what I said, I'm asking for this for years, as not only for myself but other Europeans, and I'm assuming there is some data that shows that NA is still the biggest player base, which I can fully agree with, because obviously people in USA, Canada will always have the bigger player base. But my only question would be, how do you grow the game? How do you make the market bigger for NHL video game. The next biggest market will be Europe. And for people to actually be interested in the, let's say, Hockey Ultimate Team, they want to participate in the content the same day it's being released. When games like MLB, FC, or any other sport game release their content in reasonable times, and NHL is the only one who released the content in midnight if you're in Europe, just doesn't make any sense. I would like to know, even if let's say you are in North America or Canada, USA, whatever, what do you think about the content time? Would you like to have content a little bit earlier, let's say 3 p.m. Eastern? Would that still work for you? Or you would not be able to participate? Another good thing would be if EA would have, let's say, the mobile app where you can deal with your hot account, flip the cards in the auction house and stuff like that. In that way, even let's say if you are at work or at school, you still can access your Ultimate Team and I don't know, go and open that glitchy pack, check out the content and stuff like that. I would like to hear your suggestions about the content times, everything what happened yesterday. Was you able to take part of it? Are you happy? Are you not? Because I don't know, can it get worse than it is now? And as I end today's Reddit rant video, I don't want to make this like a negative video. I'm basically reflecting to what community is saying. I'm reading the comments. Do I agree with everything they're saying? Not always, but I am frustrated because things like this should never happen. Definitely not when there was already so much noise around the fantasy event and the community was not happy. So yes, let me know down in the comment sections below. How do you feel about all this? And if you did participate in whatever happened last night, how many fantasy cards did you pull? And how many fantasy cards do you have in your team? As always guys, I appreciate you watching, have a good one and see you on the ice.